Hello rabbits, bats, badgers and other woodland creatures, and welcome back to Affinity for Commander, where today we're taking a look at one of the secretly most terrifying commanders printed in Bloomburrow, Miss Bumbleflower. As always, if you like any of the cards you see here and want to make a purchase of them for yourself, then be sure to do so through any of our lovely affiliate links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but helps channel out quite a lot. And as always, all prices you see here today are provided by the fabulous sponsor of this video, cardmarket.com. Now, on to the terrifying bunny. Miss Bumbleflower is a 1/5 legendary rabbit citizen for 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 white, and 1 green. She has vigilance and reads, whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until the end of turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, you draw 2 cards. Now, as stated, we're making a powerful version of this deck to try and really compete, so the effect we're really interested in is our rabbit's first sentence. Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. This, very importantly, is not a may ability. If we're casting, let's say, an infinite number of spells, then our opponents are forced to draw their entire deck, and thus lose the game. So yes, this is a very combo-heavy deck with quite a few in it. So let's get to it. Starting off small with Avacyn's Pilgrim, Birds of Paradise, Elvish Mystic, and Noble Hierarch serve as our creature ramp to get out Miss Bun Bun as soon as possible. And once she is out, or our combo pieces are out and need protecting, then Offer You Can't Refuse and Swan Song should be used to keep those cards safe. Now, we do want to be churning through our deck quickly to get to our needed cards, so Preordain, Ponder, and Brainstorm are all classic cantrips for a very good reason. Plus, with Miss Bumbleflower out, they also provide us with additional counters and making our opponents go through their decks. And if we cast 2 of them, then we also get to draw cards. And to help with this setup of drawing cards, both Enlightened and Worldly Tutor to grab both halves of one of our deck's main win cons. Now, just before we go up to the 2-drops, I think it is important here to pause and go over the main combos of the deck, which mainly revolve around casting the same spell over and over and over again, enough to make all of our opponents draw out their libraries. The primary one will be the Food Chain combo, involving the aforementioned enchantment as well as Eternal Scourge. With these 12, we're able to sacrifice a Scourge to the enchantment, which in turn will generate us 4 mana. We then use 3 of this to cast the Scourge again, thus creating a loop and generating 1 coloured mana each time we do it. The mana, however, is not really the important thing. What's important is that we're casting the creature, the Scourge. So Miss Bunny will trigger and make our opponents draw their libraries and thus die one after the other. This is also accomplished by the Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal combo. This requires us to play the artifact and then imprint the instant beneath it. We then activate the Scepter's ability to cast a copy, importantly, casting the copy of Dramatic Reversal, which upon resolution will untap itself. All we need for this to work is to have enough non-land permanents out that collectively produce at least 2 or more mana. With either of these combos out, we're able to make our opponents draw all the cards from their library and lose the game. But, and it's a rather big but, we are now obviously going to be giving our opponents their libraries in hand and thus every single answer to our nonsense as possible. And especially considering the Food Chain combo is very sorcery speed, we are very able to be interacted with, disrupted, and our dreams of winning that game be completely shot. Hence why this deck is running just about every single version of the only sorcery speed please cards. Grand Abolisher, Silence, Conqueror's Flail, City of Solitude, Kutsil Malamet Explorer, and Teferi Time Raveler. These spells must be cast before we start making our opponents draw their decks. This way we cannot be interrupted or interacted with whilst we're giving everyone their answers. Now with that out of the way, let's get on to the rest of the deck that supports this idea. At 2 CMC we're running Arcane Denial, Dovin's Veto, and Counterspell. We need protection for our silence effects because those are pretty much the only spells we need to resolve, because everything after that is essentially uncounterable. Arcane Signet, Bloom Tender, and Felwar Stone, as well as talismans of both Curiosity and Progress, are our non-land permanent ramp that also fuel our Icecrown Scepter line. With then having Farseek and Nature's Law coming up to help with grabbing lands from our deck. Fairy Mastermind and Prophet's Eidetic Memory both care about the card draw, with the enchantment giving us a buff to our creatures, and the Rogue helping us out when our commander triggers, but also just a really good outlet for the infinite mana from Food Chain, just in case Miss Bumbleflower is otherwise unavailable. Trust to Deck Defile also cares about our cards in hand, but offers a lovely alternative win con, even if it is a bit obvious to see coming considering it's in the upkeep, but they're also just a good card draw engine for 4 mana. The last 2 cards here are moving more of Miss Bumbleflower's +1/+1 counter theme, with the Ozolith Shattered Spire, a hardened scales by any other name, but importantly can put counters on things themselves. And Simic Ascendancy offers yet another win con, as we put in counters on our creatures left, right and centre, so getting 20 really isn't that unrealistic, especially with the Shattered Spire out. Now up to the 3 drops, where we've got some cards to help stop dying to creatures early or even Infect. Do people still play Infect? I mean, apart from me. Arachnogenesis and Tempt with Bunnies help create blockers, and with the Tempt, we just get more value for every opponent we get to tempt. Branching Evolution is another means of beefing up our board when we're casting spells, which works great for Evolution Witness. We'll be grabbing back so many cards from our grave, they'll be an all-star in this and any other +1/+1 counter themed deck. Fabra Elder is both general ramp, but also pairs with our Icecrown Scepter combo nicely. Edric, Spymaster of Tress, incentivizes our opponents to attack each other rather than us, and Freeze Strider Lookout is a lovely piece of tech, as when we're targeting our opponents with our commander's ability, that is committing a crime. And thus triggers her ability, grabbing us loads of lands from the top of our library. Nadu Winged Wisdom is just funny in this deck, as our commander does target our creatures, so we'll just get good value engine going here. No Shuko though. Rishgar, Puma Renegade, turns all our countered up creatures into mana dorks, and Tribute Mage has a great ETB that can be used to, well, just entirely go and shoot it for the Scepter, let's be honest here. And the last 2 cards of 3 CMC are Narset, Parter of Veils, to prevent Miss Bumbleflower's ability getting too out of hand before we're ready for it. Plus Windfall, because, well, this isn't a nice deck. As with both of these cards out, the Windfall will resolve normally for us, but essentially just makes the rest of our opponents discard their entire hand. Now up to the high end of the deck, and yes, I know I normally go into the 4 and 5 drops here, but the deck's got 9 cards left in it. It's a very low curve deck, so I'm just pushing them all together. Displace a Kitten to take advantage of all the spells we're casting to either abuse our ETB creatures or just get more mana by flickering our Soul Ring or Talismans. Helm of the Host to double up our commander, mainly for her first ability to make our creatures really huge, because whilst we are a combo deck, our opponents do have life totals that can also just be reduced to 0. Smothering Tithe because our opponents are going to be drawing a lot, and that should cost them. Tidal Barracuda to let everyone have flash speed interaction, but not on our turn. Season of the Burrow for blockers, removal, or to grab the Food Chain someone else has rudely countered. Dragonlord Dramoka is yet another example of no, it's my turn now. Farewell to say a bye-bye to any annoying problems on the board, with the modal nature just being absolutely perfect. Every deck should have some way of getting rid of the board. Season of Gathering is honestly just a kind of cheaper Kratos with the first mode, especially considering how many counters our commander is going to be dishing out anyhow. Plus the last ability can hopefully be the card draw we need to get our last few pieces of the combo. And the last non-land card is Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. We're potentially drawing a lot of cards here ourselves and do not want to be drawing ourselves out. That's for our opponents to do. So a lovely Eldrazi Titan with that bottom line of text really does the trick. Now onto the lands, and beyond fixing, there are a few very specific lands that do a very good job in this deck. Alchemist's Refuge lets us set up certain cards in our opponent's turns. In fact, little feels as good as dropping a 3 fairy in our opponent's end step, where we can then untap, feeling completely safe from all interaction. Boseiju, who shelters all, as we don't have a lot of instant sorceries that need to resolve, but that Arcane Denial to protect our silence, yeah, that kind of has to resolve. Both Gaia Sanitarium and Mikokuro, Center of the Sea, makes our opponents draw cards, so if someone rather annoyingly casts an Everybody Lives, or Angel's Grace, or is able to put a card on top of their library, then we can just, respond to that, or wait, and then kill them at the most opportune moment. Overall, Miss Bumbleflower is probably a fantastic and lovely group hug commander, but I wouldn't know anything about that, and I don't care. Because what she actually is a combo-enabling jaguar that will go for the throat at the nearest opportunity. Like, most real rabbits. And yes, I did only recently watch Watership Down for the first time. Savage little things. And that will be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. What are your favourite combos, especially in Banned? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. And as always, all Affinity for Commander content is made possible thanks to support of our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. If you too would like to become a patron of the channel and get access to exclusive rewards like our Discord server, as well as games with Marta and I, then be sure to check out the link below. You can also support the channel with a few quick and easy ways, liking this video, subscribing, hitting that bell icon, or commenting below. But as always, guys, I've been Alex, and I'll see you next time.